I've got 10 for the family. Number you.
Okay. Good morning.
Saman Papa Mike.
Hello, good morning. Can you all hear me? Hello?
Hey. Hey,
Yes.
Hey, Foster.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
Okay. I just wanted a lot of people to connect. I think right now we have about 50 people connected. No, 30 people connecting, and there are lots of them on the waiting list. So, please, just a minute or two. You just start right away.
Okay, no problem.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Lucy.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm
Well, good afternoon.
It's actually it's morning in Ghana, so.
Oh, okay.
I'm so pretty excited about this.
Breathe on now. Not by might.
Déjame perturbar. Exacto.
Okay, so I think it's time we should start. Good morning and afternoon, as well as evening in some people's country. Please, if you can hear me, let me know so that I can make my.
Hi, Foster.
Hello, Where's
Hi.
Yeah, I think Gifty is here, Lucy is here, Dairo is here. Most of our speakers are here, so we can just kick off the meeting, and the rest of the people will just join as they click on the link. So, welcome to everybody. My name is Foster Kofi Sam, and I lead the team at Africa Digital Festival. And we are very, very happy to have you all here for the maiden edition of ToGetHer series, which is part of the Africa Digital Festival's series to empower more women in the digital space. So I would like to give you a brief history or a brief some of the stuff that we've done. So ToGetHer in Digital is a 10-year initiative under the Africa Digital Festival that we launched last year as part of the celebration to empower digital in Africa. So as you can see on the screen, it's a 10-year initiative that is under Africa Digital Festival to empower 1 million women across Africa with digital skills. And some of these skills include digital marketing, web development, robotics, office fields, cloud computing, among others. And we launched the initiative in 2019 and trained about 500 people. That's a combination of 2 universities. We organized training sessions for 2 universities in Ghana. That is Methodist University College and Islamic University College. And we've also started some talks with counterparts in Nigeria, in Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, and I know some of the South African people are already here. They're already here. The Nigerians
Sorry to interrupt you.
as well as the.
Hi, Kofi. Can you hear me?
So
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you ask people to mute themselves if they are not talking because we are struggling to hear you?
Okay. If you all heard some of the issues, I'll be very grateful if everybody will mute if you're not talking now, so that we can all hear. Or we wouldn't.
Coffee is Dario here. Can you? I think if you are the organizer, you can mute everybody.
Yes, but I just wanted them to mute them. So anyway, let me mute it so that we can start.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. China at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There is a radio playing in the background.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute everybody so that we all listen to one. Is that okay now?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm sure the noise is okay now.
Hello.
Yeah, we can still hear.
No, we still hear a lot of background noise.
Okay. Okay. I'm sure everybody can hear me now. Hello. Okay, so let's go over. As I said, the ToGetHer in Digital is a 10-year initiative under the festival that we launched last year, 2019. When we launched, we trained 500 women. We had a training section in 2 universities in Ghana, which is Methodist University College and Islamic University College. The image that you see above is the summit that we had last year at Kofi Annan ICT Center in Accra, which we hosted some of the ladies from Camfed. A whole lot of universities participated, as well as the professional bodies in the corporate body also participated. So we've also started talks with other partners in other African countries, which is Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa, and we just recently we started talks with people in Zimbabwe to see how best we can start the same initiative over there to empower more women there. So in 2020, we are planning to work with more African countries and also to start more training, both online and offline. And we pray that at least coronavirus will go away very soon so that we can officially launch, we can organize the ToGetHer, which is the offline section of the whole summit as part of the Africa Digital Festival in November 2020. And we are actually praying that the whole corona will go away, or we'll have a vaccine for that, so that people who are suffering will be cured, so that we can actually meet and have have a good sections together. So I'll hand over this section or this side to Gifty, who is going to moderate the show. So Gifty, if you can hear me, please take over. Hello, Gifty, can you hear me? Hello, Gifty. Hello, Gifty. Okay, so hello, Gifty, can you hear me?
First, I'm muted.
Yes, you can talk now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, everybody can hear you.
Hello?
Everyone.
Okay, all right then. So some of the skills we're looking at include graphic design, web design, animation. We're looking at artificial intelligence. We're looking at all of those core IT, sections. And these skills are actually supposed to empower these women to make them entrepreneurial, to make them self-sufficient, and also to prepare them for the digital world. I mean, we are all witnessing what is happening right now in the world. Most African countries are on lockdown because of the pandemic. And this pandemic actually met all of us unprepared, and most people had to adjust somehow. People are changing the way they eat, the way they socialize, the way they work and interact to adapt to a post-COVID-19 world. They are still, and of course, women will be economically affected the most because women are still underrepresented across all levels of industry, especially the quaternary. Now, we all speculated the quaternary to come in maybe in the next 5-10 years, but it is here with us now. So many processes are being digitized, and this will not be a good look, especially for women in Africa, because most of them are not digitally inclined. So this whole initiative is actually meant to prepare the young African women, the old African women, women of all ages for the next world that we're in already. Digital is no longer an option, but a required necessity. And since women generally are the backbone of every economy, empowering them with digital skills means empowering our families, our nation, and the African continent. So right now, we have our wonderful panelists and speakers who totally agree with me on this, and will be sharing so many related details with us. We have Dario, the Chief Digital Officer of MTN Ghana. We have Candice, Digital Economy and Women Empowerment Advocate for the United Nations. We have Yemi, the Head of Programs at UN Women. We have Aurora, a consultant at the World Bank. We have Sandra, the CEO of FemPower Africa. And of course, Lucy, one of the best art directors at Forbes Africa, all here with us today. It's so great to have you all here with me. I'll kick right off with Dario. Hello, Dario. Hi, Dario, can you hear me? Hello, Dario. Hi, Dario.
Okay, yes, now I can. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Foster, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Dario, yes,
Hello.
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, very good, thank you. Hope you're all doing fine.
Hello, Dario.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
How are you doing? How is everything?
Very good, thank
Yes,
you.
I can
Very
hear
good.
you.
Yeah, very good. Everything okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, you've been in digital for so many years.
Yes, I mean, I've been in digital for
And I know,
more than 10 years.
wow, and I know you to be a strong advocate of getting more women into the digital space. So tell us the importance of IT and some of the initiatives of MTN Ghana connected to that.
Yes, sure. Do you want me, if I can I present from my side, please?
Okay. The video. Dario, are you okay?
Can you see, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Good, very good. So thank you everybody, and thank you, Gifty, for inviting me to this conference. As you said, I look after the digital products here in MTN Ghana. I've been here for more than a year now. So today I will cover basically what I believe is digital, why it is important to have more women into digital, and what as MTN Ghana we have been doing for the last 18 months, couple of years on this topic. I would like to start first on answering a question I'm sure most of the people are asking now. So why am I here? So I'm a man and I'm Italian, hearing about how to get more women into digital in Africa. And the reason is very simple, because I believe it is critical. I'm a telecommunication engineer, so I've studied for more than 5 years surrounded by men. But then, for example, I managed to finish my studies thanks to two of my friends, two of my ladies who really helped me to get to the end of the university. Then I joined Vodafone in marketing, and then there were more ladies than more people than men, and we had these sort of different point of views on product, on pricing, and especially on advertising. Then I moved to digital when I managed to move to London. And at that point, I realized how in digital, especially on the development side, they are all men. So you don't have these multiple point of views and different point of views on a product. And you are building, the people who are building the products are basically largely all men. But then what happened? I moved from different companies, from Vodafone, then I moved to the Caribbean, and then here. And in these three companies, in my teams, I've always had at least one lady who was incredibly good at her job. So she or they learn digital with me, together with me, by working on digital. And they put so much passion that they made a huge success. And they also made me successful thanks to their passion and their effort. So that's why I'm really a strong advocate to have more women working in digital, and to make sure that it's not this group of men coding in front of their laptop, because it would be quite boring. Now, what is digital? And I hope you can see the next slide, because many people think that digital is just, you know, as I said, people in the garage in the Silicon Valley coding an amazing app, and then they become billionaires. Actually, for me, it's much more than this. I think first of all is innovation. So, and that's why, again, I think women are critical here, because you have to think about new things. You have to think about things that nobody has thought about, new ideas, new features for a product, you know, a new way of presenting something on a smartphone, for example. The other thing is also passion. I think my team, they make fun of me, because I tell them that every day I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I do, I check the numbers of the app that I launched recently to make sure that they are still growing. And this is the first thing I do in the morning, because for me, is a passion. For me, is not just the fact that it's my job. I also really want to see the product growing. And every day I get a notification when a customer leaves a review on Google Play, and I read every single one of them. And I try to reply to also all of them, because that's a passion for me. It's not just a job. And also seeing something that starts from a piece of paper, then moves to a PowerPoint, then moves to a few lines of code, and then it becomes an app or a web page is just incredible. But then, of course, it's also technology. So you must have good developers, people who know how to code, but also people who can give to the product managers some ideas on how to improve the product. I always try to work with development companies that are really partners, not just, you know, they don't just do what I want them to do. And also analytics and customer insight. You can't be in digital if you don't like numbers, and if you don't like listening to customers and listening to what they want and what they need. So this is for me what is digital. Maybe not everybody agrees with me, but for me digital is a combination of innovation, passion, and technology. The best example I have is Apple. Apple, people think that Apple is Steve Jobs, but actually Apple is Steve Jobs and another guy that nobody knows called Steve Wozniak, who was the brain and the technology behind the Apple brand and the Apple idea, you know? So Steve Jobs would have been Steve Jobs without the other Steve. And so for me in digital, here is the same thing. You cannot be just have the technology without the innovation and the passion, and the other way around doesn't work either. Now, if you go to the next slide, we get to a difficult part, because where is the University of Digital? It doesn't exist. You know, there's not a university that teaches you digital. Maybe you can go to university and learn how to code. Maybe you go to university, you learn some marketing or some, you know, but it doesn't exist, the University of Digital. So you, as an individual and as an organization, you must really build the digital skills and the digital department, let's say. So as an individual, my recommendation is the first thing to do is to reading. I spend every day, depending on the day, half an hour, reading what's going on out there on digital. You know, I receive, I don't know how many newsletters every day from, you know, TechCrunch, Digital TV or whatever, to get the latest news on what's going on out there. Who is doing new things? What has Netflix done recently? Or what's going on with that little startup in the US? Because it's important to know what's going on out there, and talk to customers, talk to people, and especially to the youth, because you find out millions of new things. The other thing is also talk to companies, even if you don't want to work with them. But I think, I mean, I'm very lucky, because working for MTN, of course, I have many companies approaching me because they want to sell me something. Okay. That doesn't mean that I always try to talk to them, not because I think I will always sign a contract with them, but because I believe I can learn something by talking to them. Even this morning, I had a conference call with a company in San Francisco, and I found out new things, you know. The other key thing is learn by doing. You're gonna make mistakes, you know. You're gonna start the development of a product or an idea, and you're gonna make mistakes. But again, the University of Digital doesn't exist. So the only option is to really learning by doing. The difficult part is also on the organization side. The organization must believe in digital. And again, I'm very lucky because MTN Ghana for sure believes in digital. But there are many organizations that say, oh yes, we have to become digital, but then in reality they don't. they don't really believe in digital, and they don't implement the changes that are required to become a digital company. That's why here I say, for example, forced job rotation. You must force people to move from one department to the other and to move to a digital department. Recently here in MTN, a lady moved for a temporary assignment from customer service to digital. And I mean, it's incredible. The amount of new ideas that we have never thought about that she came up with was incredible. And there's an organization, especially if the management team is a bit older, let's put it like that, you must be ready to listen to suggestions from everybody, especially the youth. The intern are the most important source of suggestion and information. And this applies to, you know, everything in digital. You must listen to what customers are doing and what they're using. And then for me, that's something that I always try to discuss it with the various HR department that I worked with in the past. When you're looking for somebody to work in digital, you can't just look for skills, but you must really look for that passion, really, to make sure that that individual is ready to do everything he can to make sure that app is up and running at 1 o'clock in the morning, that he knows inside out the numbers of his app, or of his website, or his whatever service, you know. So I strongly believe that passion is, I'm not saying more important, but you can't have just skills. You must also have passion. And then a lot of people ask me, why did you move to Africa? So before joining MTN, I lived for around 3 years in the Caribbean, working for another company, and it's not a bad place to be. There's a bit of background noise now. So Africa, I strongly believe, is the place to be for digital, and that's one of the reasons why I moved to MTN Ghana. And there are many reasons. The three main reasons are, of course, the young population. I see, you know, the youth, they adopt digital products much faster than the older generation, you know. And having such a young population allow us to innovate on digital and to create new services that are easier to adopt. At the same time, mobile internet is growing massively, and you see the numbers here on the slide. And there's a customers are a lot of the new generation are moving straight from basically nothing straight to a smartphone. So the app is the first thing they start, is the first way to embrace internet. So digital services are there for them to really make the most of their market. And then the other one is the mobile money. So if you are an entrepreneur and you have your idea, your digital business, your, I don't know, e-commerce and whatever, in many other countries or continents, you struggle because then you say, okay, how can I get the money then from that customer? What if the customer doesn't have a credit card? What if I don't have the tools to accept a credit card, and so on? Here in Africa, and again, especially in Ghana and a few other countries, thanks to mobile money, you can immediately set up a business and get paid in a matter of hours, thanks to the fact that everybody has a mobile money account. So these are the three main reasons why I really believe that digital and Africa is really the place to be for digital right now, and it's going to grow a lot in the next few years. At the same time, of course, we are in a crisis now. We all know that, but this crisis I also believe is an opportunity. You know, for example, I mean, there are people who have never done anything digitally, who now all of a sudden they are expert on Zoom video calls. You know, I have my mom, who is in Italy, has been in lockdown for almost 2 months now, and then after a while she told me, look, Dario, I can't watch TV anymore. They just talk about the virus. What can I do? And I gave her my Netflix account, and now she's on Netflix every day. Something that I've never thought about even 3 or 4 months ago. We do group video calls with my family. Again, something that would have never been possible months ago. So it's an opportunity, really. Companies that will win after the virus are the companies that are now making the most of this crisis. And the first thing is keep on communicating to your customers. I see on my Instagram feed so many new companies here in Accra, in Ghana, that they started promoting their products on Instagram because they realized that is the only way to keep their brand out there during the crisis, you know, and they started selling products online. That's why we moved to the e-commerce here. And here again, e-commerce is not just, you know, the big names, the Amazon, the Jumia, and so on. E-commerce is the small restaurant around the corner who all of a sudden doesn't have any customers anymore. So decided to put a small Instagram ad online and somehow find a way to still serve his customers, you know. And all these things are you're building for the future because you're learning something now during the crisis, and then hopefully will stay after the crisis. And then you need to keep on, let's say, serving your customers while they are at home. That's why I put here online everything, because it's online learning, online customer service, online, recipes, food, everything is at home. So you have the opportunity to serve your customers while they're still at home. You know? So I really believe, and there are many articles that say that the companies that we really thrive after the crisis are the ones that they are now keep their customers engaged during these very, very hard times. And the only way to do that right now is through digital. There are no other ways, you know. So digital companies must find a way to really stay in contact with their customers throughout this crisis. Now I want to show you also, as I told you, I think I'm very lucky because I joined MTN Ghana again almost 18 months ago, and it's a great company because we have a very visionary CEO who really believes in digital, but also we have a great HR director who really embraced this digital revolution, let's say, and really also with my support put in place a set of initiatives to get more people and more women into digital. You know, here you can see some of the initiatives. You know, we have done for the last few months a lot of training on Agile and Scrum, and also on digital. This year we have more than 50% of the development, learning and development budget will be dedicated to digital training, because again we need to get everybody in the company, even the engineers who work on the mobile network, to learn digital and to learn how to become agile, how to use Scrum to build products. Last year I've done a set of conferences that we call them Digitalk. These were conferences open to everybody in the company, where I simply covered different topics. So it was agile, it was product management, analytics, portfolio management, and anybody in the company could join. I remember at the end of the conference, I had a look at the participants and who were the people, the employees who attended more conferences. And the top one was a network engineer who attended almost all my conferences. And then in the top 10, I think, if I remember well, 60-70% were women. So it really opened up, new ideas for people who didn't know anything about digital. The other key initiative that was launched in 2017 is Women in Tech. And this is really is helping women in senior roles to really even move more upwards in the organization. Okay, and they do a set of conferences. There's a platform, they get support, and it helped a lot. So roughly, the upwards movement for women has increased by almost 300% since the start of this program. We also have a lot of digital tools. And again, the crisis is helping somehow, because we started using Microsoft Teams around maybe 6-9 months ago. And there's always been, yes, it's good, but I don't know how to use it. I still prefer to talk to people. I'm going to pick up the phone and so on. And now in the last 3 weeks, all employees have become Microsoft Teams experts. And they are on Teams every day, every hour, chatting with people on video conference. We really embrace this tool, 100% really. The same, another interesting story is a paperless program. So the HR, together with a few other departments, we started a program called Paperless to stop, basically, to avoid senior executive that have to sign all the documents, for a purchase order, for a product, and so on. Say we should stop these physical signatures. We should move to a paperless environment where everything is done digitally. And look what's happened. In a matter of 1 week, the paperless project became a reality because we were not in the office anymore. So we had to find another way to sign documents digitally. There are a few other things, and just another one I want to talk about is the digital studio. That's something in our headquarters here in Accra. We now have a big room that we call the digital studio that has a complete different setup compared to the rest of the office. It's much more colorful. There are, games, high tables, a touch screen, a lot of whiteboard, post-it, and that's a place where anybody can go to really start innovate. It's a different environment where it's easier to innovate. You don't have your desk, but you have a sofa where you can relax, and at the same time you can start, brainstorming new ideas. So all these things together, I think, will have made MTN is making MTN a digital company, and I'm sure we're going to see even more of these in the coming months. And I really hope that many other companies could really do something similar, and we are more than happy to share what we have done with you in a more detailed section. Sorry. I want to just close my presentation with I love this picture because I really believe that if you want to succeed in digital, and you must be bold. You must be ready to really fight for what you want, because you're going to have so many people telling you, oh, this is wrong, oh, this is not going to work, you're never going to be successful with that e-commerce website, oh, that app is not going to work. You must be bold, you must keep on pushing, and you must make sure, and you must really push hard to get your ideas heard, and then at the end your product will be out there, and I'm sure will be a success. Thank you. That's it for me. I hope I didn't use too much of the time. Apologies.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
To mute everybody but the speaker.
Why they want to profess it. It's very good. So I'm beginning to look at what other Microsoft have contributed, and then begin to project.
Yes, please.
I'm sure Daryl is done, so we can move to the next.
Okay.
And
all right. So next off we have Candace.
I think if we all mute our audio so that just the speakers can hear what just the speakers can talk, that will be okay. Because if I unmute everybody, you might have a question or something like that, you might not be able to participate. So please, I'll be glad if everybody will mute his or her audio so that we can actually move forward, please. Gifty, over to you.
Yes, Foster. All right, thank you. Thank you, Dario. Okay, so we're moving on to Candace. Hi, Candace, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Candace. It's so good to hear you.
So good to hear you too, Gifty.
So, guys, we have Candace.
Okay. I'm just trying to make my camera
guys,
work.
we have Candace from the United
perfect.
Nations.
Hi, everybody. My name is
I can
Candace.
see you.
Yes. I just want to make a personal apologize for the people I invited to this Zoom because they thought I would be talking at 10 a.m., 12 GMT plus 2. But I'm here. If you're still here, thank you so much for staying. So basically, what I will do is
sorry
share a little
that.
bit about. It's okay. Share a little bit about the work I currently do at the United Nations in the field of women digital entrepreneurs empowerment, and that will take 2 minutes. And then I'll go back to a little bit of my journey, how internet literally saved my life, and then the tips I think would be helpful for the women on this call or the young ladies on this call who would like to take advantage of the digital economy. So without further ado, I will try to share my screen, and I hope you can hear the video. Here it is. The program is called eTrade for Women.
Yes, please.
If this is a video, we can't hear anything.
Okay, so you cannot hear the video. Is that what you're saying?
The video.
Okay. Can you read the subtitles?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your patience. Did you manage to read the subtitle? Just make a thumbs up if you did. If you managed to read anything.
We did. We did.
Lovely. Perfect. So my name is Candice. Originally, I'm from Cameroon. I'm currently based in Geneva, where I work for the United Nations, leading that program, eTrade for Women. And the purpose is to help women digital entrepreneurs for developing countries to thrive in the digital economy, basically. Prior to joining the United Nations, I was actually based in Accra, so shout out to my fellow Ghanaians. I was working for Stanford University. Running a program aiming at helping SME leaders to scale up their business using innovation. And prior to that, I was based in Cameroon, my home country, where I was Jumia market country manager. But all of this sounds great and glamorous and fine, but my love story with internet and digital technology started in a difficult situation. More than 10 years ago, I was in an abusive relationship. I was still living in Africa. And I was thinking about how could I escape from here? How could I escape from here and build a better future for myself? I realized that the solution would have been to go back and start my education again, go back to business school, a competitive business school if possible, a European one. But I didn't have the skill to get ready for the admission process, the interviewing, the standard tests, and internet, Google literally helped me get in touch with people who will guide me through the process, educate me the resources to prepare the test, connect with experts that were doing interview preparation in Paris. And I reached out to these people saying, hey, I can't come to Paris to prepare to this, but please, can we have an agreement where you train me over Skype and train me at a discounted price? Long story short, I got to my dream business school, and the rest is history. I managed to get out of business school and have a fantastic career. One question that you suggested me to answer was, what are the challenges that women face today in the digital economy, whether as users, as entrepreneurs, as professionals? And my belief, being in that space for a little while now, is the first one is might be, I would say, curiosity for innovation and better way to do things. Many people in different genders, but in the developing world that I've worked with, whether it's the sellers at Jumia or the entrepreneurs or the digital, the students, sometimes don't have the curiosity and the courage to deep dive into those tools besides for entertainment. Like, for example, in Cameroon, where I come from, everybody knows how to use WhatsApp to chat and send alarming news about coronavirus. Everybody knows how to stalk their friends on Facebook. But once you want to teach someone to do something more formal and serious using internet to promote their career or promote the business they are running, people start to be a bit conservative and hold on to their old ways. The silver lining in the corona crisis that we are living now is that it forces people to have that curiosity and that courage, so we can get we can get that out of the window. But one thing we also need to have, and the challenges that women have are sometimes simply access to market because of patriarchy, because of cultural barriers, because of too many work at home that doesn't allow you to explore that. But one way, I mean, the main traits that I think that will allow someone, especially a woman, to thrive in the digital economy as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as a user, it's not necessarily the core skills. Like, everybody is smart, everybody can learn those skills if they are open to it, but ultimately what makes us different are what I would describe as the soft skills, such as, I also already mentioned curiosity, but some kind of entrepreneurial energy, which is being solution-driven, thinking out of the box, getting out of your comfort zone, but also a high level of self-awareness. And by that, I mean, you need to work on knowing yourself, what you're good at, what you really want to do with your life and your time, before figuring out how to code, how to design, etc., etc. I have to say, I can't code one line, maybe one, but I'm not a coder. I am not really a designer. I can find workaround ways to use those tools, but today I've thrived in a career leveraging internet without being a coder. That shows you, and I also have a business, so these show you that the most important things that you need to acquire prior to those technical tools that will help you build your independence and make a difference is truly have an entrepreneurial spirit, know yourself, have a good level of self-awareness and discipline. Because you can have all that and you can be the most amazing coder or designer in the building. If you don't have the discipline and the persistence to say, okay, what I want to do now is to be recognized on LinkedIn as the best mobile website developer in Ghana. If you are not committed to your work and committed to letting the world know what you are doing and what you are good at, you'll still be in your student room, in your studio, in your mama's bedroom, crying about not having a job and not having gigs. And ultimately, I think what make people, and especially women, because we are still living in a very much male-driven world, and it's even more true in the digital economy. What I think it's important for women is to be mindful of what they want their personal brand to be. And you don't have to be a rock star to think about your personal brand. You don't have to be 100% confident about your expertise to be mindful about your personal brand. Being mindful about your personal brand starts by going on Google and Googling your name and see what shows up. Are you happy about what is showing up? Are you satisfied? If not, you know that you need to work on what you are browsing on the internet, the pages you are liking, the topics under which you are commenting, because all that is captured by internet. You need to have a LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile by this day, even as a student, as soon as we end up this summit, you need to go on linkedin.com and start drafting your LinkedIn profile, having a proper picture that is rather professional, not a duck face selfie or this kind of thing, something that is professional and conveying, that will make people want to reach out to you, want to work with you. And yes, so having a LinkedIn page and building up from there, because I realized that a year and a half ago, I ran a workshop for L'Oreal in Kenya. It was about empowering women scientists to leverage internet to boost their digital personal brand. And those women were women with PhDs, and they were telling me that, Candace, I'm good at what I do. Personal branding are for cheap people, are for people that are not as competent. This sounds like Instagram superstardom. And unfortunately, if you don't work on your personal brand, you deprive the world from benefiting from your talents, and you leave space to the imposters that are attention craving to do their own propaganda. So it's very important. And even if you think you're too shy, still too shy right now to promote your brand, at least work on your communication skill, written communication skill, oral communication skill. It makes a difference. And it can help the world get to know what you have to offer and take advantage of that. So in a nutshell, if I can summarize, I would say start by having the proper mindset, be curious, be courageous, step outside of your comfort zone. You have to get to know who you are, who you want to be, how you want the world to perceive you, and you need to do that work internally, but also externally using the digital tools that are available for you. And once you know that, you can now decide, I'm going to get better at designing, at coding, or at artificial intelligence, and using this platform to start building proper skills. You need to, and once you have those skills, you need to let the world know that you have those skills. But until the world knows it, there are a few platforms that can help you monetize your talents, online platforms. Platforms like Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, where, I mean, just go and check it, whether you're a translator, whether you're a designer, whatever you think you know how to do, you can sell it on Fiverr. You can also have a platform if you are more skilled in the digital space, a place like Upwork, UPWORK. And for the Francophone, you have 5euros.com. There are many platforms out there. Ultimately, is a matter of being able to have that entrepreneurial spirit I was talking about. And even if you don't plan to be your own boss and you want to work for a nice corporation, it's very important to think about the first steps I told you about. So don't hesitate if you have any question. Thank you for attention, and thank you for the invite.
Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Candace.
You're very welcome. Don't hesitate if you have a question.
Yes, please. If you have any question, you can ask.
Hello.
Yes. So if
Pastor, can you hear me?
Yes. So if you have any question, you can ask. We can take 1 or 2 questions, then we can move to either Yemi or Venice for their presentation as well. So.
My man is disturbing me. I'm here working, and you come and say, "What do the meeting?" Stand and listen to the meeting different times.
I think if you have any question, you can put it in the chat box so that you can ask this. Okay, somebody is asking, what are the available opportunities being offered by the UN to advance the skills of young women in the digital space? Dennis.
Okay, perfect. So at the UN to advance the skill of young women in the digital space?
Yes.
That's a brilliant question. So the program I'm working on, E-Trade for Women, E-Trade for Women we are running masterclasses, regional masterclasses. The most recent one was in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. The next one will probably be in East Africa. We don't have a date because of coronavirus. Go on the website, E-Trade for Women website, and put it in the chat box, and simply register to there is a box when you can type your email to stay informed, so you can get information once you have more about the upcoming masterclass, along which to get. So that's what I can say as about the work that will help advances of young women in digital space. The we did previously was rather successful, and I hope we get to benefit from that if we manage to do that this year.
Is there any plans of coming to Ghana with the E-Trade for Women? Because in Ghana.
No, but we invite women. We invite women entrepreneurs from various countries. The one that was we invite Cameroon, Africa. So we have from Cameroon, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Benin, and many other to join. So if we do one from Anglophone Africa, we will invite women entrepreneurs. It's a selection process because it's a high quality content, but we will invite women from various countries. I'm very sure that because Ghana is full of women talent, they will possibly have a few participants from Ghana. Just to answer a question that I see in the chat, can we have the sites Candace mentioned in the conclusion part? I will type it in the chat box as well. So you just have to check the chat box. Someone also asked for the challenges. She mentioned curiosity for innovation. So how do we stop holding on to our old ways? Just be open to do things differently. If you have always cooked following a certain process, challenge yourself and try something new. Be open. Don't say no. Be curious. Always have a student mindset, a student or a tourist mindset. someone asked me, how do you handle cyberbullying? Kind of people trying to stifle you if you are not nice, if you are not considerate, if you're not respectful, you express your disagreement with me, I simply block you. I don't, and I also try not to engage with in, I would say, conversations that are not productive. So you will never see me going back and forth with people on their gossip videos. Just block people, and that will be fine. Block and report people, and that will be just fine.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. Thank you very much. Thank you. 50.
Wow, that's amazing. That is very amazing. I'm sure our girls are very encouraged to take up roles in digital. Thank you, Candace. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, guys,
Have a good one.
guess who we have in the house now? We have Yemi. Now, Yemi is the Director of Programs at the UN Women. Hello, Yemi.
Hi, can you all
Hello,
hear
Yemi.
me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
I'm not
Can
sure
you
if
hear
you can
me?
see me. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you all. I'm looking at
Okay.
beautiful faces online. I really hope you can see me at some point. Otherwise, I'll log
No
on
problem.
through my personal Zoom account. This is my official
No problem.
Zoom. Yeah.
You can go on and still present, so it's
All
not
right.
a problem.
Thank you. Good
Okay.
morning, all.
Good
I'm
morning.
seeing all the beautiful faces here, beautiful, bright. Ooh, the future we want. Oh, now you've all muted. Okay, now I'm mute. I'm looking at all the faces that are going to be leading us in the next 10, 15 years, that are going to be clearing the path for us, that are going to be creating solutions for us.
Yes.
So my role is to tell you that
that's true.
we believe in you, and we will help you in every way you can, so that when it's your turn, you will in turn help us. I've been asked to speak about what challenges women face in the development space and how to overcome that. But before I start, I'm going to give you a brief about the background. My name is Falayajo. I'm Nigerian. I've been working for the UN since 2005. I came into the UN by chance, actually, and I'm going to use that to share my story. Actually, not by chance. It was something I've always wanted to do, and opportunity met preparation. If we have time, I'm going to share with you how I actually came into the UN system and the lesson we're going to take from that. And then from there, I worked in various UN organizations. I've worked in UNAIDS. I've worked in UNDP. I've worked briefly with UNICEF. I've worked with IFAD. I'm working currently with UN Women as the head of programs for UN Women Malawi Country Office. I like the title that the hub gave me, UN Women Africa Head of Program. So I'm going there, getting there, not too far. I'm sure if you look at my picture, you'll see a very nice picture with a lady smiling, you know, looking as if she's got it all together. But the truth is that the road to that is not linear. There have been so many ups and downs in that road, and you know, that is what has made the career for me. Let me share with you how I got into the UN system. So perhaps it will inspire you, and then you can ask questions. But before then, and then after that, I'm going to share with you the kind of things we do as UN Women and how UN Women itself. I don't want to belabor the issue because my colleague Candace has spoken very well in terms of the technicalities. But in terms of all the technicalities, if you are not prepared and if you don't show up, you know, the opportunities may stare at you in the face and you may miss it. Or it may even be given to you and you may drop it. So my road to rise in the career is not linear at all. You know, I'm actually a doctor by profession, or a dentist by profession. I went to medical school in 1990. I finished in 2000 because of the various strikes we had in medical school. And when I finished, I did my housemanship and then I got married. And then my husband relocated to Abuja. We live in Lagos. It's like Accra and where's the other one, Gifty? and Kumasi. Yes, Accra and Kumasi. So we moved to Abuja and I had to resign. I mean, I was just starting my career. I mean, and I had, as a clinician, and I thought I had prospects, and I got married and I had to prioritize. I had to say, you know what do I want? Do I want a career or do I want a family? So I dropped it all and I went to Abuja with my husband. And at that time, I had a little boy and I was expecting my second child. So, you know, it looked as if everything was set and then there was a setback, or it appeared as if there was a setback. I'm trying to inspire some of you here because you have what it takes. All of you here have what it takes, all of you, but life will happen. And I just want to build on everything my colleagues said, from Candace to the gentleman from MTN, and how you actually bring those things into action. So I came to Abuja. I tried to look for a job as a clinician, but all the doors were not opening for me. I was very good at my job. I got very good recommendations from my supervisors where I was coming from, and but the jobs were not coming. So I focused on building my skills in another area, in the area of development. And at that time, HIV and AIDS was just emerging as a development pandemic, just like COVID is emerging now as a development pandemic. So I put my energy in just learning, you know, because I know so many of you at this time, you know, you're probably looking for jobs, looking for opportunities, but you have to do the work, okay? Even in the tech space. And I'm going to bring my discussion to a close at that time. So I started learning. I mean, I started learning, and then I started doing the little I could. I remember that time I would engage with my other colleagues that were doctors. We would go to talk to about HIV and AIDS to transport workers. I was building my CV even though I wasn't working. We would take their blood pressure, we would speak to them. I would go to villages, I would speak to them. So I wasn't just sitting waiting for the job to come. And remember, I had young children to take care of as well. And I was also actively looking for a job. So the road to success is not linear. I need to let you understand that. And I need to let you understand that particularly women in the tech space, you know, appears as if it's dominated by men. You have to be resilient. You have to push through. You have to start creating your story, even if nobody creates it for you. We didn't have LinkedIn in those days. We didn't have Facebook. Even it was at that time that MTN started opening up MTN lines in Nigeria. So all we had was MTN lines, and they were very expensive. But if a story, if nobody's going to tell your story better than you, yeah? So I started on that. And then one day, you know, in the course of my little community work on HIV, my learning, I began to build networks. Simple networks, not big time networks, but people at my peers that knew that I had an interest for this, that I had a passion for this. I don't have a job. I had 2 young kids. I'm looking for a job, but they knew I had an interest and I had a passion. So there was preparation. So one day, a friend of mine was invited to the launch of the National HIV and AIDS Strategic Plan. Actually, a friend invited her and she was not interested. And she said, you know what, Yemi, this is what you like. So come, let's go. So that was my first exposure to the policy space. Yes? Gifty, please let me know if I'm going out of time or whatever. Please feel free to type in your questions as I speak so that I'm able to see. So as I went there, I sat right beside the UNAIDS country coordinator. And immediately during the tea break, I introduced myself to him. I gave him my background, and that's where the elevator pitch comes in. Opportunity met preparation, because you don't know what is going to happen at any time, so be prepared. And he said, you know what, come to my office, bring your CV, and let's see what you can do. So that was my first exposure to the policy space, and I worked hard. My first job in UNAIDS was to analyze what we call the 3 1s principles at that time, how the government was planning for HIV, how they are coordinating and how they are monitoring and how they are mobilizing resources. So I put in everything and I was open to learning. And that was how my UN career started. By that, another agency got to hear about what Yemi was doing, you know, and you need to treat your career as an entrepreneur. You need to be able to master your game. You ladies are tech ladies. You are not just tech on Instagram. You need to know how it works. And the thing is, you must start from somewhere. So eventually I worked in HIV and AIDS. I didn't work as an implementer. I worked at a more policy level, planning, strategic planning level. And I was able to mobilize resources to do the same thing to mobilize for the Global Fund. And then I moved to UNDP. UNDP again, I entered there. I got in there as an HIV and AIDS and gender analyst. I left there as a team for planning and partnerships because I was willing to learn what others are not willing to learn. At that time as well, we were just at the cusp of management in UNDP. There were two things that they were telling people to learn: results-based management and capacity development. And my supervisor just said, you know what, Yemi, go and learn this thing. So I dedicated time. I sat behind the internet. I studied. I became a master at it. And then I became a teacher at it. The moment I became a master and a teacher at it, the opportunities opened again. Then the responsibilities came again. Then I began to work in it. At every point, even the gender space, I learned it, became a master at it, taught it, then the opportunities open. So that's the projection. Now, it's not linear. Like I said, it is not linear. It is not a linear journey. There will be times you feel as if you don't know what you're doing. There will be times you feel as if you're stagnant, but no matter what, I've said three things: learning, preparation, then the opportunity comes. Don't ever, the learning and the preparation, those are things you can control. The opportunities you won't be able to control, but when learning and preparation meets opportunity, things will happen. Now, what's my message for you at this time? COVID has come. Many of you are thinking, oh, what am I going to do? My education, my job, my this. This is where learning and preparation starts. Now, you know nothing about tech, whether you know everything about tech, it's all up to you. There's many spaces now that you can master. There's so many things you can put out there, but you need to show up, but you cannot show up unprepared, okay? So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, you know, do your work, do your homework, find your area of specialization, find what you love to do. And usually it's what you love to do. I love learning. I love teaching people. I love tackling new concepts. I love applying those concepts and translating it into action. Your zone of excellence is never ever beyond what you love to do. You won't be good at what you don't like. So in the context of this COVID, you know, COVID is a pandemic. It's a pandemic disease. It has health implications. It has economic implications. It has research implications. And most of all, it has technological implications. When in your time, when you ladies become leaders of the world, perhaps our children will only be going to school 2 or 3 days a week. The rest they'll be doing online. How are you positioning yourself to lead in that space? Do your work. Do your homework. In this time that everybody is sitting at home, find something that you love to do it and master it. You know, I'm not saying master it and then you now become an expert, you will not learn anything from it, but know enough to be able to sit in those spaces. The second thing I'm going to tell you is to show up. Show up. I mean, I met Gifty online. I met her on LinkedIn. We've never met each other. She doesn't know me, but she showed up and I showed up. And we're both showing up for this conference. Now, you ladies need to show up. You have what it takes, I promise you. Don't think you have nothing. You have something. All of you, for all of you to show up on this platform, that means you have something to offer. And it will be an offense to humanity if you don't show up. Even if it's using tech to teach how to cook, even if it's using tech to teach how to clean, even if it's using tech to teach how to braid hair, there are so many people now that will not get to meet you in person, but you will play a large influence in their lives and you will earn money through the tech space. So, you know, don't, and then the third thing I want to tell you is that don't close your mind. Don't think it's only the UN or the MTNs or the multinationals are going to create those opportunities. I'm telling you, in this recession, the world is moving towards SMEs, small and medium scale tech enterprises. Investors are looking at which tech enterprises am I going to invest in? And we are beginning to realize increasingly that women are more prudent, they manage money very well, but they are less risk averse. We don't take risks, we don't show up. And it's only the people like Foster, who is a man, and he knows he will show up and they'll give him the money. Okay, so you need to show up. People are looking for girls like you, they are looking for ladies like you. Okay, so show up, partner with people. If you know how to cook and I know tech, let's do something in the space that teach women how to cook on tech. Let's do something in education, and it doesn't matter where your background is. It doesn't, I mean, I'm only a teacher or I'm only a this. I mean, I'm a medical person. I mean, I would never have imagined being in this space. All my mates are talking about COVID clinical trials. They are in the hospitals, but this is where I want to be. And I've been able to use what I've got to get to what to get what I want. So show up. The third thing I'm going to tell you is to network. You need to learn how to network. You know, I mean, this is also one of my weaknesses. I've always thought I love people. I love, you know, being with people. But when I hear that word network, oh my God, you know, but there are many spaces now where you can network. LinkedIn is a perfect example. You know, you don't have to be in the crowd and be shy. You can put things out there. You can repost things that people have reposted, but you need to be able to network. Gifty, as a result of network, is what brought me here. I've never met her. You'll be you, particularly in the tech space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then first thing is the fourth thing I'm going to have to tell you, which is very, very, very important for you as women, is that you need to find your superpower. And one of the superpower of being a woman in the space is resilience. My colleague from MTN spoke about that you need to keep pushing. You need to keep, that's what resilience is. As a woman, you need to be comfortable with problems because you are here to solve problems. So you cannot be afraid of problems because you are here to solve them, okay? Be comfortable with problems. Let problems be like the gym that will build your muscle, okay? Because in the next fight, COVID-19 is a huge problem that nobody's finding solutions to yet. But also, it's a huge opportunity for those that have a solution, whatever solution. Okay? And this COVID-19 has birthed many in Ghana, but here in Nigeria, we are locked at home. I have to use technology to buy food. I have to use technology to teach my children school. I have to use technology to go to work. So it's an opportunity for some people. Be comfortable with problems, okay? Be comfortable with challenges. If there's something you don't know that challenges you, use this time to tackle it. It's not easy because, I mean, to rise, particularly my colleague from Candace will speak, because in the US, tough. In male-dominated spaces, but when you get, nobody is looking at you that a woman or you look at you are delivering. You getting up done. Being a woman, being a man is not an excuse out there when rubber hits the road. Okay? But as a woman, you can fight like a woman. You can use your strength as a woman to get what you want. Just like the men, their strengths as men to get what they want. Okay? The world, COVID-19 is no respecter. We are suffering more because of roles we play as women. But if you have a solution, I'm telling you, the world will come to you. Okay?
Okay.
Yes,
like
that's perfect.
the fourth thing, the fourth, like a girl. Many times we women are seen as just activists without programmers. You know, we just like to make women's rights. No. You need to learn to be strategic. You need to learn just fight for a space. I mean, we've heard about fighting for your space at the table, creating your own table. Okay, so when you get to the table, what are you bringing there? Okay? What are you bringing there? I want you to be able to get to the table and say, why haven't this person been on this table since? Or I want you to that table and shake it. You have what it takes.
Yes,
the man in the tech space, nowadays they are looking for disruptors. Everybody's talking about disruptors. People that will shake the system, that will shake the way we do things, because COVID itself is a disruptor. And you have to use disruptive energy to tackle it. You can't use the traditional space to tackle it. And the lie I want to say before I open the floor is
Yemi, I may have to interrupt you because yes, we have just some few moments left, but I would like you to take this question, please. This one is saying, what happens when you have the zeal to work, but you don't really have the resources at the moment? Maybe a laptop, she does photography, so maybe a high-spec camera, because she knows possibly the work at hand needs a high-definition tool. How do you explain that you're excited about the opportunity, but not yet in the frame to take hold of things at the moment? Oh, wow.
Okay, that's a very good question. Do you have a phone, whoever it is, at least you have a phone that takes some kind of camera? Many times it is not the camera that makes the picture.
I'm sure she does.
It's the photographers. So you need to continue to take those photographs with whatever phone you have. Then the people that see that you are consistent in taking it with that your bad, cracked Samsung, they will say, you know what, I can give you this camera. The opportunity will always come when you are prepared. I promise you. But you cannot wait before the opportunity comes. You have to use what you have to get what you want. When I was doing my work, we didn't have phones. I didn't even know how to set up an NG. I just knew that I need to do something. I would just go to those people, talk to their chief truck driver. We sit. Many times I didn't have money. I said, I don't have any money, but I have skill. I can teach you people what to do. I can answer your questions. You have something. You know, that's your bad phone. You may use it to take a picture that nobody else in the world have seen, because it's not the camera that makes the photographer. It is the vision. Then the second thing I want you to do is look for spaces where your colleagues are. LinkedIn, or I don't know whether you guys have photographers, post your pictures there. Inspire them. They will reach out to you. I love speaking. I love what I'm doing, but I didn't have the opportunity, but I started putting things out there on LinkedIn as well. And then the opportunity came. The first thing I want to say is, don't ever think you are helpless. Have something. Preparation will meet the opportunity. Okay? Have I answered the question? I hope I have.
Yes, please, you have. Okay, one very last one. Sometimes you are from a background where you are taught to be reserved, and parents don't even want you to move out of your comfort zone, and any attempt to be outgoing is seen as rebellious. How do you break from such yoke?
Well, that's a challenge. I know that we all face. I've faced it as well, and I'm telling you that it goes at all stages of life. It may be your parents at some point. It will be your husband at some point. It will even be your kids at some point. So, you know, everybody feels you're accountable to them. However, the first thing is demonstrate to your parents that you're a woman of vision, in spite of that. Maybe their background, their own experience, or the way you are interacting with them too is like, you know, rebellion. So you need to demonstrate that. If having done that, there are platforms. You're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on this platform. Let your voice be heard on those platforms. I remember when I was young, I used to be told I was a talker, and after I tried to mold myself not to talk so much. But now there's podcasts. My phone, I can record my voice. Nobody will tell me to keep quiet. So there are ways that you can actually express yourself without offending your parents. And I would encourage you to do that. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Yemi. You've been incredibly amazing.
One thing I want to say, sorry, Gifty. One thing I want to say, I know that I've run out of time. But the last thing I want to say as women is, now this is women, when you become successful, because you all will, learn to collaborate. Collaboration is the name of the game now. Collaboration, and don't compete. When you see someone that's teaching people how to make hair on Instagram or on Facebook, and you can do something like that, don't compete with that person. Collaborate. Say, let's do something together. There's something you call leverage that you people are able to amass together. If you do it by yourself and you get $100, she does it by herself, she gets $200. Together, you guys can get 500. You split it 250, 250. You need to learn about collaboration. And I think that is the Achilles heel of women. And collaborate, don't compete, and bring other women up. Find women. Some people are looking up to you now, perhaps in secondary school, even your peers. Build them up. You rise by lifting others. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's perfectly true. Thank you so much, Yemi. It's so great to have you talk and inspire us. Thank you so much. We are inspired and definitely will put to use everything you've discussed with us. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to move right on to Lucy. Lucy is on standby waiting to share with us. So hello, Lucy. Can you hear me?
Hi. Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Great to have
you ladies sharing such inspiring stories. Like, I'm feeling very inspired right now. I feel like I need to keep pushing, like everyone keeps saying.
Yes,
thank you so much, ladies, for sharing,
definitely.
and as well. I'm here
okay,
to
so guys, let me quickly introduce Lucy. Lucy is one of the best art directors of Forbes Africa, and she's going to be sharing with us. So Lucy, the floor is yours.
I'm going to be speaking on how, like, my challenges in being in print media and getting into the digital space. So as Gifty has said, I'm an art director. I work for a business magazine called Forbes Africa. And with that, I basically come up with concepts and put the magazine together and make sure that it's visually pleasing for everybody. And I'm able to communicate using images and text and share stories that our journalists have come together and put together. So with that, I mean, I work in print media, and for many, many years, print media has been important as it has provided the audience and readers a profound brand experience, which was very difficult to duplicate online. Print is tangible. I mean, it allows for the audience to be engaged, and we spend a lot of time going through magazines and reading it, and also it allows for establishing brand credibility and recognition. So all in all, print media has been a significant tool in communicating between brand and consumer. I mean, it still is, but now with the inception of digital media, the way in which brands communicate with their audience has been transformed. I mean, there has been innovations in the way in which we share and consume information. I mean, information is accessible with, like, just by clicking on Google, you have everything you need to know. I mean, with that comes the challenge of, for people like us in print media, to stay relevant. And how I've had to do so with my job is to take into consideration the factors that come with digital media and use those to reimagine print and modernize the design. I mean, as with digital media, content curation is key. Like, it's so important, guys. So I've had to use interesting and compelling layouts so that the audience doesn't get too overwhelmed with information, and design in such a way that you feel like you're reading Forbes Africa online. So in essence, digital media has helped transform print and the overall experience of reading. So now when I create content for the magazine, as a person who also spends a great amount of time online, guys, I'm always online, always researching, always on Pinterest, always checking what other websites are doing, always looking at trends. As a person who spends that amount of time online, I take into consideration the certain design elements which I find online, and I take those digital aspects and consider them and place them back into print. So we should be able to take what we have in print as designers, especially the ones especially designers in media, print media specifically, take that and translate it online with ease. And to add, you know, with the pandemic forcing all of us to work from home, I mean, the business world is changing at an unprecedented pace. So with that, you have to make sure that you have the digital skills. And when you have those skills, you have to be able to implement them and put them, especially as a person working in media such as myself. As a graphic designer and art director, the transition from traditional graphic design for me into the digital graphic design hasn't been so tough, hasn't really been a tough one, because I believe in constantly upgrading your skills, constantly getting the necessary training and getting tutorials to keep up with the advancements and the trends that evolve around. So you have to get on search. If you don't have the funds to go to school and get the necessary teaching, just go on Google. There are lots of tutorials, learn those technical skills. And also you can, I mean, right now with everything going on, there's a lot of institutions that are offering online courses to teach you how to get into graphic design. So technology and advancement of it has made it easy for us all to create digital work. I mean, we can create graphics which are more appealing and speak directly to our audience, and even draw in a broader audience, because that content is more likely to be redistributed and more likely to be shared and gain some impressions. And that in itself is good for the brand that that graphic specifically represents. It's also good for you as a designer, because you get recognition and you get people to see your work even more. And it's also good for the audience all in all. So at the end of the day, everybody wins. You get to share your skills, you get to upgrade your skills, you get to learn from other people, you get to show other people your work. The brand gets to be seen by other people. Like it's digital is a very amazing space to be in. I mean, graphic design and the evolution of it has played an important role for like content creation, digital marketing, and the overall communication between the brand and the consumer. So and I've noticed it's so easy right now to create graphics now, because software has become so accessible for people. I mean, you can even get software right on your phone. You can get photos on your phone, and there are various apps that give you the ability to gain basic technical skills, which you can at a later stage, if you find yourself interested in what you're doing, find another way to get the skills more matured, get the skills implemented somehow. You can teach yourself from your house. You can just learn the skill, apply the skill, and use your creativity to explore and express your thoughts and your opinions in the world. I mean, I foresee a lot more changes in the graphic design and technology, and with all the digital platforms that keep evolving. So I mean, it's a good time for people to learn and to use their creativity and to somehow just create a brand for themselves, which they have in control. I mean, online and digital allows for people to have careers on their own terms. Like you can, I mean, you can be a lawyer, but you can start your online platform and just decide that, okay, listen, this is the other skill that I'm interested in, this is on, and this is what I'm going to do from now on. And from that, you can develop a new career. I mean, there's a new generation of entrepreneurs coming into our space now, and this has been exposed through Instagram, through LinkedIn, through Facebook, there's so many. Like, I hope with the platforms like this, people get more inspired, especially women get more inspired to focus on what they truly feel they can offer the world, and have a voice their creativity, and just start up new careers. You can do so much. These I hope I find some way. Yeah,
that's amazing. Yes, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Lucy. Because of time, we may have to take the questions later. So
okay.
We'll forward the questions to you, and then we will get the follow-up answers on the page.
No worries. I'm always ready and available.
Now, I would like to jump straight next. That is Aurora. All right. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Aurora, hello?
Yes, hello.
All
Can you
right,
hear me?
Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Yes, please. We can hear you. Okay. So kindly take the floor and then share with us briefly about
Okay, so
how you go about yourself, your journey, everything that has been tech has been to you. Kindly tell us. Thank you.
okay, thank you, Gift, to you for the introduction, and thank you again for having me for this virtual session. I'm feeling very inspired today. Thank you for all your beautiful stories. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
We can hear you, so please go ahead.
Yes, please. You can go on.
Yes, so
Okay.
I'm saying that I'm
Yes,
saying
we can hear you. Please go ahead.
okay, so thank you for all your beautiful stories. And well, my name is Oramate, and I'm a Ghanaian who is currently living in the US. I'm a consultant at the World Bank in Washington, D.C. And my field is in telecom contracts and vendor management. I've been in the job industry for the past 9 years, and it's been an incredible journey. I'm happy to share with you about myself and basically how I navigate, the journey in tech. My story is actually very similar to Yemi, Candace, and I forget her name. So I'm going to just try to make it very short. Basically, I started off just like you. I did my undergrad degree in telecom engineering at KNUST in Ghana. And I had a science background. For some reason, I've just always been more attracted to the technical sciences. My strengths were more in physics and math because I just preferred the calculations to the reading. I remember the guys outnumbered the ladies in my class and in the College of Engineering in general. And this is something that that I've come to see more and more over the course of my career. Unfortunately, for some reason, it seems a lot of ladies just shy away from technology and engineering as a career because there is this notion that it's a man's world and it's all about, boots and hats. But this is a very wrong perception, unfortunately. Everyone can do and be good at technology. The world is fast evolving and we can no longer afford to shy away from it. Technology has come to stay. So what are some of the habits of successful leaders in technology? This was something that I used to ask a lot in career. I'll share with you soon. So basically, after my graduation, I got posted to do my national service, teaching in one of the secondary schools in Cape Coast in Ghana. And at the time, I remember feeling quite discouraged that I'd been posted to teach instead of, to a corporate institution where I could gain some relevant skills for my career. I was definitely feeling anxious about my prospects of getting a job after my service. And I know a lot of people feel that way too, especially when they are fresh out of school. So what did I do? I reached out to a number of small telecom mast building companies and offered to work for free during the vacations from the teaching job. Basically, this helped me get some much needed experience, which eventually helped me to land my first job as a network operations engineer. In 2015, I was affected by a mass layoff with the company I was working for. Life happens. I later had a chance to move to the United States. But it was generally a challenging time for me because it was hard to fit in and get a job with no American work experience. So during this time, I tried to identify the gaps and took several short online courses and basically took steps towards self-development. I also volunteered my time with a number of local nonprofits to acquire some new skills, as I tried to figure out things for myself. And even though at the time it all seemed totally unrelated to myself in terms of career, they were all very necessary steps and contributed very much to who I am today. I learned so many skills that are very much useful in my current job at the World Bank. So I joined as a consultant in 2018. And in my current role, I work with a team to manage the bank's telecom contracts. This entails everything from sourcing to supervising of telecom projects for the World Bank offices across the globe. I still find the world, I'll say, and I've had a chance to learn from and be motivated by some of the best and very experienced senior colleagues in the industry. And even though my unit is very male-dominated, the World Bank is one of the many organizations that are making conscious efforts to support and encourage women in tech. So back to the habits of success. One of the important things I learned from all this is that successful people don't have it all figured out. You know, there are many bumps and detours on their paths, just like everyone else. They make mistakes and feel like anyone else. But what sets them apart is that they don't stay down for long. They learn from their mistakes and they keep moving. It is totally fine to feel discouraged from time to time. I want to emphasize on this. You know, we all have our hopes and aspirations in life. We all want to graduate with a good class, immediately get the jobs of our dreams, etc. But the reality is that over the course of your career, you're going to face many challenges. I personally had several challenges and detours on my path as well. I've only shared a few with you because of time constraints. But what is important is that you keep moving. So in essence, you definitely need to have passion for what you do so you can continue persevering, even when faced with challenges. You also need to be willing to learn and commit yourself to continuous improvement. Second thing I'd like to point out is that, you know, there's a need to be open-minded wherever you find yourself. Like I said earlier, it's not a straight line, okay? So always challenge yourself to give up your best, even if it's not the most ideal place you like to be. So if you have to pick up a side hustle to earn money or work some other small job without pay to gain experience, make a conscious effort to give up your best in all you do. You know, that way you actually stand to gain so much more than you know. The industry is not without its challenges, you know, for women especially, and this can deprive them from getting into it in the first place. I'd like to touch on a few of them. As I'd mentioned earlier, a lot of women just shy away from technology as a career because of the notion that it's a man's world. And this is further re-emphasized by existing cultural norms or expectations of women to pursue only certain careers. STEM education for girls is still very much an issue. It all really boils down to governments and private institutions, individuals, encouraging and for girls right from the basic school. When I tell people that I grew up believing maths was supposed to be the easiest subject, you know, and my dad was a maths teacher. And they talked about maths as though it was the easiest thing to do. So I grew up without any preconceived ideas about maths and science. And therefore, engineering was just a natural extension of it for me. And that is why I talk about the importance of a solid STEM foundation right from the start. In addition, you know, the industry is a very male-dominated field, and it can sometimes feel a bit intimidating. So first thing, you have to believe in yourself and believe that you're very capable of delivering just like your male counterparts. No one will believe in you if you don't believe in yourself, unfortunately. So ask questions where you need to, speak up where you have to, and slowly you'll see your confidence build up. Back in the day, there were very few women role models in the tech industry to look up to, but thankfully, there are more and more inspiring women leading the way now. There are several women you can draw on their strengths and have as role models for yourself. I've personally been lucky to have some incredible female mentors in my career. And more than ever, I've come to believe that for us women in tech, it is very important for us to help pave the way for other young girls and women by way of, you know, encouragement, mentoring, offering opportunities where we can. We now have several women CEOs in tech and telecom companies across the globe that we can all look up to and be motivated. Just work on your confidence, be bold, and you'll be fine wherever you find yourself. Another challenge of the tech industry is that it is very fast changing and evolving all the time. New products and services are constantly being launched, and it can be a bit challenging, you know, to keep up with. Some women, unfortunately, experience difficulty staying up to date with the latest trends in technology, leading to a skill gap that adds to the challenges they face. We women must make an effort to develop and maintain our proficiency and stay abreast with new trends. And of course, you need to have the passion for what you do for this to be possible. So currently, we are living in a digital age. You know, this period of COVID-19 is letting us see more and more the importance of digitalization. I'm doing the same amount of work I'll do from home. I mean, from work, you know, at home. And I'm also having face-to-face meetings with my colleagues on a daily basis. In Ghana, for instance, all the public universities have currently had to move to online learning. So what does this tell us all? We are in a digital era, and we women can't afford to be left out of the game and left behind.
That's very true. That's very true. Not to cut you, Aurora, but because of time, we may have to take the questions later on. But I would want our other speakers, Sandra and Venus, to join in right now so we can round it up quickly because we have about 10 to 15 minutes left. So Venus, if you can hear me, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, please, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, Venus, just go on and then share with us, please.
Cool. If you have questions, I'm really going to focus on the opportunities, like the possible career opportunities that are available within like the digital space, and letting you know that you know, whatever you're interested in tech, it can be applied to your area of interest. So I had a presentation to share, but I don't think time will allow, but I just explain who I am. I'm Director of Business Development at an advertising agency called Now Available Africa. We really lead in the space of digital when it comes to advertising communications, and we've been responsible for helping a number of really international, global and local brands take their digital journey. So that means transitioning from using just traditional media to including digital into their offering. For a while was one of the females, the only females on the management team, and I've been part of the agency's journey from growing from a startup to really a pan-African leading advertising agency. So let's look at what opportunities there are for anybody who wants to include tech as a consideration for their career. I think the first thing I would draw your attention to is the fact that most people are tech savvy, right? You probably don't realize how tech savvy you are. The mere fact that the majority of you would have worked out how to use Zoom to come onto this call, would have social media accounts on whatever your chosen platform would be, and that you are posting, let's say, content about yourself on those platforms, know that means that you have some digital and technical skills. Now, the other thing to realize in those spaces are that the things that you're doing for fun, so for example, filming videos of yourself doing fun things and then posting it onto whatever your chosen platform is, writing captions that go along with those posts, and expecting people to view it and engage with it. Those are all things that people are employed to do. And in our space, because tech innovation is new, it's very rare that you'd be able to go and study those things at school. Often people find opportunities for employment by demonstrating their capacity within that space to do. And the things that you're doing, so if you have a Facebook page, if you have an Instagram page, if you use TikTok, if you use Snapchat, know that what you're doing for fun can be your pitch to a potential employer about how you would be able to use that platform to benefit their business. The other thing is to note that as a woman, I mean, in this forum, we're all discussing about like the challenges or the issues, that barriers that women may face in pursuing a tech within the digital space. I'd say to you that one of the main things is mindset. I think if we realize that, yes, we are women, but within that conversations, we are enabled women. and that you do everything within your power to ensure that you have the knowledge and you come to whatever table it is that you've chosen to come to with the knowledge and capacity to deliver, then honestly, when it comes to choosing who's the best person for a particular job, it won't be about whether you're a man or woman. It will be about who has the best skills to fill the positions that we want to do, or who has the best skills to get that job done. We're very, I guess, if you look at the positives that this COVID situation has pushed for, is that many educational establishments have optimized online space to offer learning resources, and they're free. So you could allocate a bit of time that you would spend maybe chatting to friends or watching videos to look at how you could empower yourself and take advantage of the online resources that we have available. So let's look at careers. So we're within the advertising space, there are a number, especially digital centric agencies, there are a number of roles which are available for people. We have which have sprung up just because of the digital trends and the platforms that we're using to help brands execute on. We have within our agency people who are specialists in Instagram as platform specific, people who really live on Facebook, people who are Twitter people who are Snapchat people, WhatsApp also, and they know those platforms inside out. They are employed to do what we call community management. And they're really the people who, if you have a brand or a page that you follow and there's content being posted there and there's people responding to any or questions that you've asked, those people are community managers. And it's an opportunity, it's a real career path. We have media managers, and media is a space where you don't really, in this country, you don't really find a lot of women exploring that space. So if you're someone who likes numbers and statistics and analyzing data, there's opportunities.
Yes, Venus, I totally agree. It's a space that isn't particularly to a lot of women right now.
Hello?
You can continue on.
Yeah. The other things are content creators. So in most campaigns, you'll see that there'll be content created, whether it's art or video, understanding, having a mindset that's fixed to understand how traditional. Hello? Hello?
I think internet is on pause stable, so she wants
Can
to.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And
okay. So you could just tell me when to stop. If anyone has any questions, please write them down.
You can go on.
Please write them down and we'll look at responding. So content creation. So
I wanted to bring Sandra in as well.
Yes, okay.
Most of the things you're talking about, officially when we meet most of the girls, we introducing them to some of these career topics. Obviously, you will definitely be there as well to guide them through some of the choices they are supposed to do, and the rest of the people, the rest of the speakers that we will have. So if you don't mind, can we bring Sandra in as well so that we can...
No problem, no problem.
Hello, Sandra. Hello, Sandy.
Hello.
Hello, yes, Sandra.
Hey everyone, it's been an amazing session. I've really learned so much from all of the speakers here. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so just to very subject that we've all been talking about, which is getting more women in. I'm a founder of an organization called FemPower Africa, which helps me to sort of do my passion, which is helping women learn how to use technology to scale their businesses and build careers. So because of my work, sort of specialized and centered our work on entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, Sub-Saharan Africa. They have the largest number, about 27% of the entrepreneurs in Africa are women. So it means that a lot of women are entrepreneurs, and this is a part that is very interesting. There's a lot of opportunity in that space. So what we do is we try to help women who are passionate about digital and use technology to do what they want to do. So a lot of my work has been centered around demystifying what technology is and what digital is, and trying to see and impact the women that we've helped understand that technology, like a pen, is just to help them impact they want to make on the world, and helping them understand that technology is something that would help amplify that has been the journey. And so talking about my own personal journey into technology started when I studied engineering. I was one of 4 boys in my class of 100 students, and I was very, very pissed off about it, because I really didn't feel comfortable in that space, because I felt like I was a stranger. I had to struggle with a lot of things. But it just sort of brought me to a place where I began to understand how important it is to include other women, which led me on to starting my organization, FemPower Africa, and working with the numerous organizations and the numerous platforms I've worked on and in to bring in more women into tech. So another approach that we've used is to get women excited, or girls excited about technology, even from a younger age, even before they start hunting for jobs. And we do that by ensuring that we create content around STEM that is exciting and is inclusive of women. Over the years, we've done research on how to make STEM attractive to women. And we've seen that women are creative, we are nurturers, we have empathy, we have passion. And our work has just been, how do we make STEM, how do we make technology inclusive to ensure that women use all of our innate passions to thrive and to scale and to improve the sector. Another thing I would like to talk about is how we as stakeholders, as businesses, can help more women get into technology by helping them learn more mentorship, by being a sort of support, by giving them platforms. We see a lot of organizations teaching or inspiring women to be the best version of themselves. But I feel like what women really need are opportunities, okay? Access to opportunities. So if you're a business owner, you should sort of take on, even if you can't probably employ or pay the person, find a younger version of yourself and do sort of an internship in your small business and help that little version of yourself grow and learn in technology. And that is mentorship, peer-to-peer mentorship. So we do that by also engaging women in our community who are quite already competent in technology, and we match them with younger versions of themselves, so they could help and guide these girls that are very passionate about taking STEM roles. And another approach that we've done and we are currently exploring is how we can begin to help people use simple tools that would just be probably an accounting software, probably a social media management tools. We try to make them believe that technology is not something, you mustn't be a coder to be in tech. You might be like myself. I'm more of a project management person, but I'm able to sort of specialize my project management skills, my passion for impact measurement in the technology space. And you can also be a researcher. You can build your research skills. You can create content like all of the speakers have said. You can manage communities. You can build a YouTube platform, and you can engage people using technology. So technology doesn't have to be probably being a technical person, coding, designing. There's so many aspects to explore, and that is what that we're excited. I've learned so much from the different speakers here, and it's been so amazing to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandra. And it's true, there are so many other aspects of digital. And right now we're going to bring in Sean. Sean, if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Can you?
Hi,
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello, Sean.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I think it's just the connection. Okay, I'm going to go on video.
Yes,
Hi,
please,
everyone.
I can hear you. Talk to us.
Okay,
We're listening.
great.
Yes, we
I'm
can
so
hear
happy.
you. Please talk to us.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to get to talk to you. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go very fast, and I think the time is also spent as well. But I'll be happy to answer any questions as the speakers have mentioned through email. So my full name is Sean Shokumbi. I'm actually based in the US right now, although I've been living in Kenya, in Nairobi specifically. Unfortunately, COVID has me stuck here. But I'm sharing a house also because I'm not normally living here. So that's why I'm going to move really quickly to share some quick ideas with you. So just more about me, I have a consulting firm called Carfi. If I had time, I would have shared my screen with you, but I'll quickly address the mission statement of the organization. Carfi has a mission to sustain and obtain resources for aspiring African leaders, and we do that through a couple of different initiatives. One thing that I think will be particularly of interest to the people who are in attendance today is my Genvolution conference. So I know a lot of you are saying, you know, we have the ideas, but we don't have the resources, we don't have the tools, and we don't have the networks. But the Genvolution conference is a specific initiative that I run that is targeted towards younger adults, so between 15 and 25, who are either in college, just graduating college, and are also based in Africa and want connections to networks in the US. So I do that through a networking process or conference with different universities that are based in the United States. Soon we'll be working with the University of Chicago in the next couple of weeks. So if anyone wants more information about how you can join the Genvolution conference and get more guidance on building sustainable, that's the key word, sustainable businesses through entrepreneurship, you can join that platform. Now, a lot of speakers have been saying a couple of things and basically have taken the words out of my mouth. But I was asked to answer the question about what are the main challenges depriving specifically women from entering the digital space. And my job is to be a consultant, right? So a technical person, I know a little bit of coding, right? But I'm mostly paid for my ideas and my critical thinking skills and my ability to solve problems, right? So one of the things that I want you to think about when going to any kind of space, whether it's specifically very strictly IT or something that's IT adjacent or requires technical skills, are these three things. I think specifically for women, it's how to be taken seriously, and then how to make whatever you're doing profitable, right? Both in monetary terms and both in social capital. So women, as some of the speakers have said already before, we tend to be more timid. We don't feel like we want to take risk, and we don't feel like we should speak up because we're conditioned to be told, oh, you have to know your place, you have to be quiet. So you really have to fight to be seen, especially in a digital platform. So the good news is that access to digital platforms, access to the internet, access to platforms like Instagram, Facebook, etc., is pretty much ubiquitous, right? It's democratized, so everyone can access it. Now, when you have over billions of people accessing these sites and wanting to be heard and seen, how do you stand out? That's the question, right? So that's one of the challenges. Then once you stand out, I know someone was mentioning TikTok, and I know that that's a big craze right now. And I don't want to take away from the joy of using those platforms. You know, not everything has to be about work. Sometimes you just want to gain an audience for the talent that you have that brings joy to people, right? But then the question now is how do you get taken seriously, even in going into that field? You know, there's specific space in the content creation field where people are just strictly doing entertainment. they're doing comedy, they're doing times makeup tutorials and music. But how do you now grow that into something that people say you are the expert, or you are the person that when I think of this, I go directly to your page first. One of the people that I'm thinking of, she's based in the US, but she's still African, is Jackie Aina. Jackie Aina has the most subscribers on YouTube out of any Black woman any African woman who is on the platform, right? And she took a long time to get to being taken seriously as someone who is a content creator. But when you go on her page, she's having fun, right? She's inspiring people, and she's also just making jokes. So it's a combination of bringing your true self into the platform and making it enjoyable, but also knowing in the back of your head, this is a business and I have to figure out how I'm going to sustain this long term and not just have an audience that's captured with my attention for right now. And then of course it's being profitable. So like I was saying that, you want to both be profitable through money and also through social capital. There's a lot of people who have millions of followers on Instagram, but they're not sure how to actually convert them into people who are paying them as a service, right? So your goal can be to have a huge audience and to make this something that is a large platform that you're selling your brand on. But if you're not able to monetize it, if you're not able to turn it into something that is actually giving you money, then it's going to be a waste of resources. And resources are very limited, especially for women in this space. So you have to think of those three challenges and keep them in mind when you're doing this work, right? So what are some of the opportunities on this? Well, the truth of the matter is that right now we're going to be in a recession. It's just the truth of the matter, right? It's probably going to be worse than what has happened 10 years ago in the recession then. And it's definitely going to be worse for those of us who are based in Africa. And usually when there's a recession, advertising or money that goes towards content creation is often the first thing to be cut. So you'll see even less resources that you ever saw before. So the question now is, how do you figure out how to sustain yourself in a very constricted market, right? Where capital is limited. Well, one of the things I want you to think about, and this is what I go through my Genvolution conference, is how to bootstrap effectively. I won't go into too much detail. I wanted to talk more about it, but for the sake of time, I won't go too much into it. But again, please reach out to me because we will be going over this through my series, the Genvolution Conference with University of Chicago. But unfortunately for women, a lot of the times our capital comes from ourselves. It comes from us working side gigs, side jobs, knowing how to effectively put the money to the side and save in a way that we know when we're going to reach our target to invest back in ourselves. So one of the things that I would go through with you if you were to join the conference is how to do that effectively and how to also make your money grow on its own, right? Because you don't just want to save the money to the side, but you want to figure out when I put it into savings, how am I also maximizing and making my money grow? It's called passive income. How to make it work for itself and continue to grow. Another thing that I wanted to mention in terms of like habits of leading women in digital or any space is to know who you are and to be who you are, right? So one of the things I know, again, like I said, I am hired for my knowledge, right? I'm hired for knowing critical thinking skills and, for using my critical thinking skills to solve problems. So I have to constantly know what is something that I can truly say that I am an expert at, and then not just rest on my laurels, but continue to grow my skill, to continue to read up on the things that I said I'm an expert on, continue to know who are the right sources to go to for that information to continue growing. And I'll also put my knowledge out there. So not just waiting for people to always pay for it. But one of the things that I do, because I'm not a technical person, even though I'm learning, is I do a lot of blogging. So we've talked about graphic design. We've talked about creating creative posts on social media sites, but blogging is still going to be around forever, right? People still take the time to read, especially if you're someone who knows who you are and you're very strong in your content and you have a voice, right? And if you continue to practice your writing skills on the side, even as you're doing any other thing that you're doing digitally online, that will also help people to take you seriously. So you have the video content, or you have the engaging content on one page, and you also are pushing people to a place where they get to know you further and see, oh, this is someone that I can actually take seriously, and this is why I'm committed and follow this person. And then eventually those become people that grow and convert into your paying customers. So I would highly encourage everyone on this platform, as you're learning how to do technical digital skills, you still have a process can, grow your brand and grow your visibility online by showing that you're an expert in whatever field that you want to expand through blogging. I conclude there. I'll share, maybe I'll just add information into the chat right there. But Job Evolution Conference will be going into depth about how to be fiscally responsible, how to invest in your own stuff by bootstrapping, and then also how to grow your brand through being a thought leader through your blogging. And thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you too, Sean. Thank you so much for sharing with us. So we still have some time left to take some questions. So we're gonna allow for some few questions right now. Foster is going to unmute, so you can go on and ask your questions.
Please, if you have any question, please ask so that we have for at least 1 or 2 questions, either to Venus, either to Candace, to Yemi, to Sandra, to anybody, and you'll end the whole meeting and go for the next one. So, if you have any question, please ask.
Yes, I have a question. Okay. So my question goes to hear me.
Okay.
Yeah. Please, after learning and then being ready for any opportunity, if the opportunities maybe two or more comes to you at once, how do you strike that balance? Know that no, this is the right one for me. This is what I have to pick. Yeah, that's my question.
Any other question?
Yes, please, if you have a question, go on and ask.
Mariam, I have a question.
I want to ask that. How far is that? See how we finish your fine. Yeah, as a digital competitor in Africa, fully know your right against audience. Let's say,
No. Please, I have a question.
Go ahead.
And ask your question.
Okay, so the question is to Yemi, but any other person can answer. So she mentioned being available, like in other words, being at the right place at the right time. So, and one of the ways to hello.
Please continue.
Okay, one of the ways of getting paid, you can see your volunteering to do certain things, things that you're passionate about, right? So I don't know if there or if you have links to, because at our times and your times are actually very different. And so I think right now there are links or places where people need volunteers, organizations. I don't know if you can share links who want to volunteer and they can see their areas of interest and then volunteer for those organizations. Because yeah, that's my question.
Venus, please, if you have any other, if you have an
Pardon?
answer or something like that, you can.
Okay, I didn't. So was the lady asking? I asked if she could type her question so that we can see it clearly.
Okay.
But
Okay.
was she asking for resources whereby you could find out about volunteering opportunities?
Yes.
Was that the question? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure if there's a central bank in Ghana at the in Ghana where you can actually find out about volunteering opportunities. But what I'd suggest is that if you have like companies in mind that you would like to gain experience from, then you could approach them yourself. And you never know, like by just looking and asking speculatively, it may open other doors for you.
Okay. I also have a question. My question goes to Aura. I've been going through some few I think World Bank initiative that they have for Africa. Is I think moonshots talking about the digital infrastructure and digital skills for Africa. Is there anything you can add to that, so we, as ladies and as guys, we know how to go about the whole project, if there is any other thing that we can benefit from?
So what's the name of the project again? I didn't get that.
I think it's called World Bank Moonshots Project. Talking about digital infrastructure, digital skills, digital platforms, digital financial services, and digital entrepreneurship for Africa. They call it the Moonshots Project.
I see. Actually, there are several projects at the World Bank, and there are a lot of them that I don't know about. Okay. So I'm definitely going to check on this very one you're talking about. Later on, we can, discuss behind, definitely. And then, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. If any of the speakers have something to add or to say, okay, please, you have the platform, then we end.
Yes. I'd like to speak just to respond to the questions.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to answer the first one in terms of how do you take two opportunities when they both come to you at the same time. I'm sure my colleagues, Venus, Candace, and Sheung would know that there are times, particularly the consultants, that you have many jobs and many offers. And this is something you have to get used to, and you have to choose. I mean, particularly the better you get at your job, the more people would want you in their space. Now, the first thing you need to do is know yourself, know you. What can you work with? Who can you work with? Under which terms and conditions? You really need to know your own strengths and your weaknesses. I like what the Sheung lady mentioned, that, I'm not a content creator, I'm not technical, but I build knowledge. I teach, I build knowledge, I build management. So this is what I do. So you need to really know what you are good at doing and who you are and which space you are most comfortable working. I mean, I've been offered jobs which I took that looked good, but it didn't fit my personality. So I wasn't able to put in my best in that job. So if you have two opportunities, know yourself. Before you even look at those opportunities, know yourself first. What kind of person am I? What kind of environment do I like to work in? Do I like working in a structured environment? Do I like autonomy? Do I want to work with a group of people? Do I want to work by myself? What is really in this tech space? What exactly do I really want to be known for? So don't even look at those opportunities yet. Know yourself first. Yourself and what you like will be the compass. Then the second thing is, what brings you most passion? What are you most passionate about? The reason why we're all talking about passion is because when you are passionate about something, by default, you are likely to excel there, because you're likely to put in your energy there. That's when you are at your best. So it's important that you look at where you are most passionate. Sometimes don't look at the money, because you see, the thing about money is that it's never a good indicator for making choices. You will not show up at best. When you are in your position of passion, you get visibility, particularly now as you are starting in your careers, most of you. You get the right people on the table, you get visibility. Then you are in a better position to negotiate. You're in a better position to say, you know what, this suits my personality, this doesn't suit my personality. So it's important. Don't look at which is the juiciest offer yet. You know, work your way up so that they will begin to topple over themselves to give you juicier offers. You know, that's the strategy. The strategy is not to pick which one is juicy first. You make yourself so good that people will say, you know what, if they're offering you $500 per day here, I'll top you with $100. I'll give you $600. Then you can now, you know, choose, but you are in your zone of mastery. So that's what I would advise. I would just, I think Venus has mentioned in terms of volunteering links and places. Also, I would also want to advise, you know, for me in the development space, I started with what I knew, the development companies. I started with the local NGOs. You know, I started with even my own small NGO or community-based organizations. One of us, I think it was Sandra, she spoke about her own NGO that works on women's platforms. Reach out to her. She has networks. They have NGOs like themselves where, you know, they know each other, and NGOs are always looking for volunteers. So you can register your interest there. Companies are always looking for interns. You know, if you are in the private sector, you can register yourself there. If you've looked and by any means or any chance, which is very not likely, you don't find, go to your mosque or your church, help them set up their Instagram page or their Facebook page. It's still working towards your CV, yes? So that's what I would advise in addition to what Venus has said. Thank you.
Okay, I think I also have a question because I've been getting WhatsApp messages asking a whole lot of questions. So I think it's to UN Women, to E-Trade for Women, and Lucy. They're asking if it is possible like an event, a possible training section will be happening in Accra or in Ghana or any of the countries that we look forward to, if there's any collaborations that can be made so that they can build their skills. Hello?
Yeah, Foster, I can hear you.
Okay. Lucy.
Hi, sorry, hi.
Yes, so somebody asked about a training section. Was asking about if it is possible you could put together a training section for them, or better still collaborate with other brands to help them in terms of, the person is actually studying graphic designing, talking about branding and all kinds of stuff. So is there any opportunities to collaborate or to partner to work out something like that?
Oh no, I'm always willing to collaborate with anybody that is willing to do so with me. So they can just send me their email address, their contact details, and I'll get in touch with them and I'll put something together for them, and we can work, and I'll bring in other people with the necessary skills that can also help them learn in which area they want to improve on. Okay. So I'm open and willing for that.
Okay.
Now's the time to take up these mentorships and training and anything else that anybody else would like to learn more about. So I'm ready and open. Yes.
Okay.
That's great.
I'll leave my email address there as well, so that anyone else that is willing, they can contact me and ask me anything they'd like to know from me, if that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Let me please, is there any collaborations or any projects you're working in Ghana that's with UN Women? I think she's not around. So hello, Yemi.
I think she's muted, so you have to unmute her.
She's already on mute.
Okay.
Hello, Yemi.
Can you hear
Can you
me?
hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Brilliant. For UN Women Ghana, I would have to find out.
Okay.
Currently, I'm in the East and Southern African region. Ghana is West and Central African region, but I can definitely find out.
Okay.
To particularly, I would advise, there's a project, I don't know if Ghana is a recipient of it. There are two. The COVID-19, I know there will be funding for that. We will keep you updated. And then I know there's a project called the Spotlight, which looks at violence against women and girls. And in this text, I know there's a particular missing space, particularly cyberbullying, you know, messaging, communications and messaging in the tech space. I think for us as UN Women, we've not really explored that space very concretely. 2 or 3 or 4 of you may come together, or you may even host some kind of summit to say, you know what, this is the problem. I mean, the problem is violence against women and girls.
Okay.
Harmful cultural practices. But how do you, as tech geeks, use your platform and your space and your expertise to address it, particularly in this generation where there's a lot of cyberbullying, cyber this and cyber that. And, you know, that there's a problem right there, I'm telling you. And if you can do it even beyond West and Central Africa, you know, you could also look at East and Southern Africa as well. You know, put things there on the table.
As part of the festival, you will definitely look at that and explore the possible partnership that UN Women will help us with that. A lot of ladies actually complain about that, so definitely we'll be glad to collaborate with you to work out something.
Okay, I'm not promising anything, yes, but it's something that, yes, but it's something that there's a clear gap, and it's something that we can continue this conversation if you build the right critical mass. You know, you guys are already a critical mass, and UN Women is very pro civil society, pro non-state actor voice, pro young people. This is a very solid idea you can put on the table.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please, if anybody has anything to add, we are about wrapping up. So if you have anything to say, anything to share with the people, please, you have the floor. Then we close everything. Okay. Nobody has anything to say. So, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll definitely meet again. You'll definitely put together more sections like this for everybody to benefit. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you so much. It was great having you. Thank you all.
Hello.